Welcome to the Busy Latter-day Saint, where righteous desires and living life come together. Here, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints discuss their challenges and successes in studying the Scriptures, and where listeners come to learn more about studying the Scriptures. I'm your host, Richard Bernard. The music for this program is by Marvin Goldstein and used with his permission. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I encourage you to comment on this episode or the podcast in general. I also encourage you to contact me with topics you would like me to discuss. To leave a comment or share a topic, click on the link in the show notes. I encourage you to subscribe to this podcast to be informed when a new episode has been posted, and invite you to share with others how you have benefited from this podcast. If you enjoy this podcast and have benefited from it, I encourage you to start donating a few dollars to the General Missionary Fund. Reading and studying are both crucial parts of the learning process. Both are often interdependent, but reading and studying do differ in several ways. Reading entails the process of understanding the words. Reading focuses less on complex ideas and requires less time than studying. Reading the Scriptures is a great way to see the big picture and to understand the flow of the story. Studying is more involved and thus takes more time. Studying involves asking questions, researching, pondering, and writing to inquire understanding. Studying begins with prayer and needs a quiet place for you to ponder and listen to the Spirit, and requires having pen and paper ready to record impressions, ideas, and revelations. Both have their place. Reading can be done anywhere and during short periods of time, for example, while waiting in line, or during short breaks during the day. In this, I am also including listening to the Scriptures. Studying is the process of acquiring understanding and making changes in your life and becoming more Christ-like. We must be careful and not confuse reading with studying. Listen to this counsel from Howard W. Hunter. We should not be haphazard in our reading, but rather develop a systematic plan for study. There are some who read to a schedule of a number of pages or a set number of chapters each day or week. This may be perfectly justifiable and may be enjoyable if one is reading for pleasure, but it does not constitute meaningful study. It is better to have a set amount of time to give scriptural study each day than to have a set amount of chapters to read. Sometimes we find that the study of a single verse will occupy the whole time. Taking the time to study the Scriptures is vital to our spiritual growth and opens the door to revelation. In closing, I share with you the words of David A. Bednar. Scripture study is a preparation for and a prerequisite to receiving personal revelation.